14 hours on this interstate. We rode all night and now it's breaking day. Could use a little sleep, but we must go on. Gotta do a show tonight in San Antonio. And a million miles away, she waits for me, living day by day with all her hopes and dreams. And if I'm gonna win, why do I have to lose? Well, it's all that I can do to be a song away from you. This motel room don't seem like home, and love just ain't the same on a cell phone. Tonight there's another place I wish I could be, in those arms reaching out for me. But the music pulls me through another lonely night. But what about the ones I leave behind each time? Maybe I'm a fool, that it's a life I choose, but it's tearing me in two to be a song away from you. The life I leave behind seems so far away. As time passes me by, it's the price we pay. This road goes on and on, it never ends too soon. And it's all that I can do to be a song away from you. A song away from you.
And good afternoon. Scott McQuaig taking us into our next weather break. The big thing that we've been asked is what's going to happen to Lauderdale County? What's coming? And I've got the man here. Odie Barrett is in with us. And y'all been studying this, Lauderdale County Emergency Management. If you've never met Odie before, great fella. And let's start with this. When are we going to start feeling conditions in Lauderdale County?
You know, when we feel what is what we're dealing with now. We're starting to see some of what's coming offshore now with a little bit of rain. Early in the morning is when we'll start seeing a lot more of the wind that comes along with it. Some of the bands have already started reaching a little bit out. But 5 o'clock in the morning, we'll start seeing some winds come through. National Weather Service is calling for anywhere from 9 in the morning all the way to 8 tomorrow evening to have high winds, 30 to 50 miles an hour range.
Now, earlier this morning, it wasn't quite like that. It was 25, 30, and then right around lunch that got...
Yep, it got boosted up, and so now we're sitting here at 30 to 50, and that's a lot of wind coming in our area.
Now, what do you forecast or foresee with power outages? Are you thinking this is going to be just some downlines occasionally, or could this put us out of power for a little while?
The biggest thing, what we were talking about looking at the map, wind is Ida going to make that more northern turn?
Right.
And then when is she going to make that northeastern turn? And that's going to determine how close to us she's going to be. And that's what's going to be our ruling is where is it going to actually turn, at what direction, and where are we located in reference to it. So going back to what do we see possibly for tomorrow, we've got a wet ground.
It's going to be a lot of rain.
We're going to continue to have a wet ground. And that does a lot of damage to the roots with the trees. Not damage, but it loosens it up.
Right.
Now we've got wind that comes through, and it easily pushes these trees over. So we're being prepared for a lot of trees down, a lot of trees on power lines, which means no power in widespread areas. We are lucky with Mississippi Power and EMEPA. We've got two great power providing companies that are right there ready to go and have always been Johnny on the spot around here.
Now, as I had the map up just a second ago where you were talking, 319,000 people in Louisiana right now with that power, and it's just now getting started. It's going to be...
It just went ashore, 11:05 this morning.
Right. And now as we look at this, as we were talking about that turn, let's pull up the map here. As we pull this up, we start seeing maybe by 7 a.m. in the morning, right there, we're still got winds of 58 miles an hour, gust of 70. You might as well call that 70 right there.
Yeah.
But as we zoom in on this, here's Vicksburg. This is Hattiesburg here. And we go over, this is Natchez, Mississippi, where it starts to show a little bit of a turn. Mm-hmm. And then where it was on this side of the river now is on the right side, east of Vicksburg. Yep. And if it goes a little bit more east as it comes in, then we've got a serious problem here.
We've got more of a problem. And tornadoes brewing on the east side of these storms is what we're going to be looking at and maintaining visual on each storm cell that comes through.
Now, I got to ask a question while ago, and I know one of the places, and I'm hitting you out of the blue on this. We didn't talk about this before we went on the air, but shelters. I know the Salvation Army takes in folks. Is there another shelter in Lauderdale County that is available for people that need to go or that are in town and can't get a hotel? Is there anywhere to go?
Right now, the short answer is no. We are... I guess you could say we had a couple of places that we used as a shelter. One of those places is the Frank Cochran Center.
Right.
We know the shape of the Frank Cochran Center is right now. They suffered a fire a couple of years ago, and so that facility is out of commission. We had a few churches that were involved with us and able to provide sheltering.
Right.
But some circumstances that took place starting 16 years ago today, a lot of these churches kind of backed out away and said, hey, we can't do this. And without getting completely political into a whole nother storm, rightfully so.
Right.
So
we
it's kind of hard.
Characters come into town that didn't leave.
We had some characters, and we had some churches that was grateful enough to open their doors up with no time limit to come in. Here's you a place to sleep, bring your family. We've got you some clothes. We've got you some food. We're going to take care of you. And when everybody finally left, these facilities were
trashed.
It's
kind of like the Superdome was.
Right.
And I totally get that. So Salvation Army would be the only place that we know of at this point that does that. If you have a shelter and we're not aware of it, inbox me so we can get that out because I'm not aware of it. Now, as we look at Lauderdale County, as you're saying now, anywhere from 30 to 50 mile an hour gust.
Yeah.
Sustained winds, are we looking at 25, 50?
Probably around the 20 to 25 mark for sustained, which is still a lot of wind.
Now, as we go just west, and let me pull this up here so we can show everybody what we're looking at here. Here, let me back this out, and let me turn off the locations. You get here, this is Lauderdale County. all that Lauderdale County has right now, and you tell me if you see this change in a flash flood watch. When you get to Newton County, we've jumped up to a tropical storm warning. Now, where we're looking at maybe 40 to 50 gusts, is Newton County, you think, in your opinion, going to have it much worse than Lauderdale?
I don't think so.
About the same?
I think we're going to have about the same as what they have. I do see that warning move over to cover Lauderdale County before in the morning.
Okay.
We're completely surrounded. So everybody around us and to the west of us,
even
everybody's
Clark County.
under it, and Clark County's under it. So I see that being boosted up for our area, that we would see some type of change and a warning for the tropical storm.
Now, we look at the Jackson area, which is west and still in the cone, and you've got the eye of this thing roughly, and it may change, as you said, when it goes up. Conditions can make it change. Do you see Jackson as basically with no power as this thing comes through there?
You know, Jackson is, they're in I guess you could say a good part, but a bad part, because you want to be on the west side of this.
Right.
And the way everything's tracking is it's tracking a little bit more east. And right now, they're wanting it to go east more than anything else.
Right.
But everything going just like it goes right now, Jackson is going to take a solid hit. Jackson, Brandon, Madison, all that is going to take a blunt hit. So I see from all the way from Vicksburg, from the river, all the way over here to us, some very large, widespread damage as far as power lines.
And you see here, this is if you're going to Jackson, this is the Welcome Center right before you get into Jackson on the right-hand side of the road if you're traveling west, right here. Right about there at Morton is the line of what they're putting still in the cone there. But again, whether you're here or here, it's not really going to be that much difference. That's an imaginary line.
Right. And it's going to continue to grow as we go throughout the day. They've been real good with predicting where this thing is going to land and what it's going to be when it does hit land. You know, the strength of it went up and down, but the spaghetti models all kind of stayed together and where this was going to go. So now that we're on land, what's affecting this storm? She's huge.
It is.
She is very powerful, and she didn't just completely drop like they had expected at first. You know, she's going to come in as a 4, and as soon as she hits land, she's going to be a 1, and she didn't do that.
Now, in comparison to Katrina, which I think there's nobody in this that is watching or has a best friend that doesn't remember that thing.
Oh, yeah.
The difference in between the two, Ida is not as wide as Katrina was. Is that
it didn't, the wide bands of Katrina is not what we're looking like on this one. This one is a more condensed Katrina, I guess you could say. This is the strongest hurricane to hit Louisiana.
Now, that's saying something.
Of course, Katrina really hit us. The floods got New Orleans and Louisiana. So they took the blunt of the levees felling and the floods from the surge is what overpowered Louisiana during Katrina. And Mississippi took a solid hit with this. So this storm here, you know, Ida is the Katrina for Louisiana from what Katrina was for Mississippi.
And we had somebody just ask this, and this is just a shoot from the hip. And of course, you know, always look at your forecast, your meteorologist in the neighborhood that you're in. But somebody just asked us if they live in the Clinton, Mississippi area, and that's over around Jackson. Should they probably ease out for a few days and go east of there, away from there, to make sure they kind of have power for a few days?
You know, if you don't have any means of having power generator, you know, I hate to tell anybody that
to leave home,
to leave just because you don't have power. You know, we focus a lot on preparation,
right?
And that is, don't wait till today to go get your generator. Have one to be prepared in case this happens. But I wouldn't say leave. But I would say be prepared.
Get your generator
to be sustainable for 3 or 4 days without power.
Now, and you may know more about this, but from here looking out, from every comment that I've seen of people posting here, there's probably not a generator left in Meridian right now, is it?
I know Lowe's got some in this morning.
Okay.
But they were selling like hotcakes.
That was a big item.
So very big item.
And if you've got a generator at home, right now is the time to drag it out, because I cannot tell you the folks that have one that's been put up for a year, 2 years, and if you leave gas in it, it's not going to run right. You need to get it out, start cleaning it out. Always best to, when you store these things, to disconnect the line, run the gas out of the carburetor.
Run it completely dry.
I had mine dry and I had to buy a whole new carburetor on it. It died. So mine's running. I can keep my mama going.
There you go. As long as you keep her happy, everything else will work in place.
That's right. What flash flooding? Let's talk about that. What areas? And let me pull this up and show this. What the National Weather Service was telling us. Let me go down here and find that. This was early this morning with flooding. What areas here, or is it pretty much a blanket? Is there any area that's going to have more rain than the others that you're expecting in Lauderdale?
Right now, we're going to have rain covering all of Lauderdale County. Of course, you go down south, Bronson Road. That is a key area. If we want to know the shape of Lauderdale County as far as floods, that's our first stop. We go down there. If there's no water across the road, everybody else is safe. If there's water across the road, then we start tracking back. So that's one of the areas that we look at. We are working with the National Weather Service and also the engineers, Corps of Engineers, and they are putting a monitoring station in that area there at Bronson Road off of Highway 11. So we can actually go online now and go in and look and see that level without having to actually go out there and put our eyes on it.
Since you brought up the National Weather Service, your opinion on this. As we all know, there was a water tower that was installed near the radar system in Jackson. And I have noticed sitting here that a warning may not be issued when I'm looking at it on my radar thinking that's pretty bad, and then nothing comes out of Jackson. Do you think that water tower is kind of interfering with what they see and they're not issuing it? And I know it's hard to guess what somebody's doing, but do you see that as an interference to any degree?
A tremendous amount. And,
okay, so I'm not imagining that.
And it didn't just start with that. As you know, the earth is round.
Correct.
So you've got a tower in Brandon, roughly 90 miles away from us. You've got a tower in Tuscaloosa, roughly 90 miles away from us. And with the curvature of the earth, by the time these two towers start signaling out that radar,
right,
by the time it gets over Meridian in Lauderdale County, we're at about 8,000 feet. So from 8,000 feet to ground level, we have zero radar coverage for Lauderdale County.
That's scary.
So we don't see anything. And so that's why we have 3 different radar systems that we keep going in our weather room, so we can piece all these different radars together. So the tower, on top of not having radar coverage here, blocked more additional radar coverage.
That makes sense.
So now we're a little bit more behind the ball.
And we used to have our own at Key Field, and they closed that.
I had one at Key Field, and we had one right up 495 right when you get into Kemper.
Right. That's right.
You know, the frame's still there.
We lost it.
Oh, yeah. And I've talked to them, and I've tried to push this, and I'm not through pushing. Lauderdale County, we're going to continue to push.
And that's good.
$22 million to put another one up. And, well, it wouldn't have cost that much if you wouldn't have took these down. But so that's where we're standing now, and I hate that we
Biden
don't
gave that
have
away
the coverage.
in like a week.
Yeah, it was
a
gone.
day.
So yeah, so that's where we stand. EF1 tornado, we're not going to see that on the radar. EF2, the only thing we'll see from that is if it hits enough debris and throws it up into the air, and at 8,000 feet, we can see a debris ball or signature of debris on a radar. But you really have to get up to a EF3 before we'll see it around here on the radar. And that really puts us behind
The
eight
curve.
ball, yeah. So back in, what was it, April, we had some tornadoes come through, and they loved me down at the National Weather Service because I'll call and say, hey, I need you to come and survey Lauderdale County. For what? Well, for tornado. I think we had 3 of them that came through. Oh, well, we don't show anything on radar. And I says, no, and I'll ask you the same thing I do every time I call after a storm. Look at that, and if you would still come to Lauderdale County and at least do a survey. The last 4 times I've called and had them come do a survey, we have been told that we've had tornadoes come through our area, but there's 0 on the radar.
And a perfect example is this, and you use one of the same radars that I do. Mm-hmm. I have shear winds that pop up on mine, and I remember this at 494 out near Freeman Tractor. I had 2 shear wind circles come up on my radar, and it was clocking at 89, 90 miles an hour. There was no warning, no nothing. And I stared at it before I started talking about it to make sure that I was, and sure enough, you know, after they went back and served that, I believe that area was also a tornado touchdown.
It was, sure did.
Mm-hmm. But there was nothing from that. So I have learned, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but when we're doing radar and those shear winds come up those circles, there's something to be concerned about. Exactly.
And that's good to pinpoint that and say, here's something that we can't see on radar. And so we don't want anybody to go outside, but we offer a class through National Weather Service, storm spotters class, not a storm chasers class. So it's different.
Right.
So we pushed that, and we didn't do it last year, and we hadn't scheduled one this year because of COVID. But we at least do that once a year, and if we have enough interest, we'll do it twice a year. But that gives us the opportunity to have people all around the county that's trained to see
to know what it is they're looking at
and what this isn't. And they can call our office, they can call National Weather Service and say, this is what I'm seeing.
That's good.
And then we can actually pinpoint that on the map and look for wind shear. We're steadily looking at radars in different areas to look at wind shear, to look at the rainfall, to give us any kind of indication, do we have a tornado?
Right.
Or things looking like we can have a tornado come through. And we will push information out sometimes that is, I guess, led by certain people that's out in the field.
Correct.
Relaying information back to us, not just based on radar, to get that information out.
All right, I'm going to ask one more question about the power, and this may be one of those things that you cannot answer, and if you can't, you can't. But would you classify Lauderdale County as 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours without power and it comes back? Or are we looking at one of these events like that ice storm to where we were days without power? How do you rate this? And again, if you can't answer it, that's okay.
It's hard to, and the reason it's hard to say that is because right now we're sitting without power. I mean, we're sitting with power.
Correct.
Louisiana is sitting down there without power.
Correct.
So we've got a lot of people that work here or could come here to help us that are down on the coast. So the crews may be a little bit smaller that's coming here to work because they're going to be spread out all over the place. So we could be a couple of days. I don't see a long-term 2-week outage or anything like we did with Katrina, but I could see that
2 days.
2 days, maybe.
All right, this is the latest that we're getting out. Louisiana is now up to 340,000 without power. And let me just check Mississippi to see if we've gotten much here in Mississippi.
And it's not safe for them to do any work right now either.
No.
So they're just standing there waiting and hoping for the best. That no more damages come out so they can get
in there and work.
On in there to fix it.
But as we both know, it's going to be a lot more.
It's going to be a lot more.
State of Mississippi has 3,000 without power now, and we're looking at these here in Walthall County, 600 there, and then Ament County, Mississippi. I think that's Jerry Clower place.
That's right.
Down there.
That's right. Oh,
There you go. I like me some Jerry.
I do too.
Good fellow there.
Too.
All right, the next question. Let's get into this because this is always a concern, and we touched on it briefly just a moment ago. As we pull up from the National Weather Service, this is what the possibility of severe weather, and basically all of this, all the way to the coast, is under there might be tornadoes. Do you see this being extreme? Or, again, am I asking a question that there's just no way to answer at this point?
No way to really answer it. Now, we're not going to push out anything saying we expect a tornado. We want everybody to be on the outlook. We are in the slight risk. But at Lima, we prepare the lines of we've got a tornado coming. We've got 2 or 3 that's going to be here on the ground. And that's the way we look at it. So we have to take these as worst case scenarios and be prepared at what's coming. And we want everybody else to be prepared. We want you to be over prepared. We want you to have your generator ready. We want you to have water. We want you to have your food. We want all your medications in a bag ready to go. We want all your paperwork in a little briefcase style safe that's waterproof, that you can take all your important papers and have everything in an area ready to go if you need to. But we don't want everybody to sit back on pins and needles because something just might happen. Right now, the conditions are, favorable that we may have a tornado that brews out of this just because of our location and history.
Right.
But the key is to make it through not just a power outage, a tornado, an ice storm, or anything else. The key is preparation.
All right. And let's say you're sitting there now, you're watching us, you're going, well, I ain't really thought about that. I didn't think it was that bad. And really, up until this morning, for us, it was marginal. Now we're looking at it being a little bit different case there. Right now, if you hadn't prepared, what do you need to go get? Are we talking several gas cans, 2 or 3 5-gallon gas cans for your generator?
If you've got a generator, then you do need to go get you some fuel to keeping it, 10 gallons or so. Go to the bank or run by an ATM and get you some cash. It's always good to have a little cash in your pocket. Sometimes you go to a convenience store. If they don't have power, they can't run a credit card or a debit card, so have some cash to pay. Food and water. So you want enough water for a gallon per person per day in your household.
So that could add up real quick.
It can add up real quick. And that's going for you to drink, to cook with, and for sanitation.
Now, and another thing with that, if you see that the power is going out, and I learned this during that ice storm, go ahead and fill up your bathtubs.
Exactly.
Keep some water in that, because when I'm not sure any of the water associations around here have backup generators, do they?
They are working on that, and that's something that came out from this ice storm.
Right.
So that's something that is developing.
Because everybody was mad about that one now.
Yeah, and that kind of snuck up on everybody.
Yeah.
And we're trying to work it to where if we need to, we can bring out one of our big generators and hook it up and take it from one to another, at least let them fill a tower with it or a tank with it, and then take it somewhere else until they can get theirs in. Working with FEMA, doing some grants for this type of thing is great, but they're not a real fast-moving deal. It takes a while to work with FEMA and getting grant money and all that, but they are working and they are looking at possibly doing that pretty quick.
During the ice storm, and I guess my new nickname should be the Waterboy, everybody that it was on our little street here where we live, I'd take 5-gallon jugs and put them in the back of my truck and go to another neighbor's swimming pool, fill them all up, and go drop 5 gallons at everybody's house. And it was the big joke around here, the Waterboy.
Waterboy.
So, but hey, it was appreciated. Yeah.
You got that right.
It kept those toilets working there, and you could wash your hands if you needed to. So if you start seeing that power go off, your water won't immediately quit. So with the power goes out, go ahead and fill up that bathtub. You got a couple of them, do that. That's a little precautionary. You can use it for something outside if you don't want to waste it and let it down the drain.
Take it for the flowers if you need to, but just having that for the sanitation part inside your home, open some doors, open some windows, get some breeze coming through. It's going to be hot. It's not going to be near as hot as what we've had in the last couple of weeks, but it's still going to be kind of warm out there. It's going to be uncomfortable. Nobody was in a comfortable situation when Katrina came through. Of course, 16 years ago, it's hard to remember exactly everything, but
right.
We know we weren't happy because we were hot and we were thirsty and we were hungry and we wasn't expecting 2 weeks without power. But we made it through. We worked with each other. We took care of our neighbors. Like you said with Waterboy, we take care of each other when it comes down to it. And we're going to make it through. We're going to be there for anybody that needs any kind of help. And in just a minute, go ahead and get you a piece of paper and a pen. I'm going to give you a couple of phone numbers. We are going to be manning our EOC throughout the day.
Right.
We're probably not going to open it up and fully activate it until in the morning, but we will be around. If you have an emergency, 911. That's who we want to call. We want to call 911. But if you don't have an emergency, but you want to report a tree down or anything, call us at 601-482-9852 or 482-9857, and that's to the office and the EOC. Both of those numbers are ringing in our EOC.
Like as you just said, now if it's an absolute emergency, call 911.
Call
first.
911. They'll get in touch with us. So we work in conjunction with 911 dispatch. We know what's going on with them. They know what's going on with us. But if there is zero emergency, there's just a tree that's down and it's affecting your house, but no one's hurt, call us at that number and let us know. And let 911 stay free for someone who does have an emergency.
With that point being brought up, and I saw this during, it was one of those sheer wind events that really probably was closer to a tornado, because I got several pictures of this around Lauderdale. Okay, when the weather breaks out and these trees start swaying, explain the severity and how you can be killed driving down a road from a tree falling, because I got several videos of a car be going and it's crash in front of it.
It happened twice here this last big storm we had. So yeah, if you're just driving down the road and you're not really paying attention, or it happens so quick you don't have time to react. But these trees, a pine tree has a root that goes straight down and it's fairly deep.
Right.
And it's sustainable, and that tree is probably not going to tump over like a hardwood. You got an oak that's going to have a huge root ball, but it's not going to be very deep, so it can fall over with the entire tree. But a pine tree is going to snap, and you may not see where it snaps at, because it's going to be leaning one way, and what snaps it is when that tree slings back the other way. And if that tree falls down on top of you and you didn't see it, it could be rain wrapped, it could be dark, and it lands just right on your vehicle.
It's over for you.
It's over.
And I've seen this also with every storm, not just Meridian, but nationwide. As I sit here each morning, I go over the stories of the people who get killed in their living room that have and I've said this a lot, of a tree that's overhanging their house. Mm-hmm. And they sit there and they watch TV, and that wind catches it and comes in. It will hurt you. Move to another portion of your house, down the hall somewhere where it didn't direct hit on you.
Right. In another room that if a tree's going to fall, it's not going to fall on top of you. And then if you have time, get out there and kind of trim some of the trees. I know in the South down here, we like to have that shade over the homes, and it helps with that electrical bill. But be mindful of how healthy is your tree? Is your tree a very nice, healthy tree, or is bugs gotten in it? Is it hollow? Could it be weaker? Is the branch too long, too big for the main trunk of the tree, and it come off? So,
all right, we got to ask for the telephone number again, if you could read that. And somebody may have posted, but go ahead and give that again.
So 482-9857 is one of them, and then 601-482-9852.
All right, we had somebody say that Sioux and Lovey does have backup generators for their water. Okay. And then somebody wanted to know their estimated time, the best you can say that bad weather is going to start rolling into Lauderdale County. Is this after a midnight type thing?
It is. It's going to be in the morning. I'd say anywhere from 6, 7 o'clock, we'll start seeing a little bit more of that high wind come into our area. We're going to have rain all night. We're going to have some wind all night. But the heavy wind coming in tomorrow morning around 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. National Weather Service has it from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. But seeing some of the shift in this storm and where it's going is going to play a key role. But I think that it's going to be a little bit more earlier than what they've got us predicted at. And it's easier to be safer if we plan for 5 o'clock and it doesn't happen till 7 than it would be if we say it's going to be at 7 o'clock and it happens at 5.
And somebody asked about Newton County. Would you put Newton County as the same as Lauderdale County for arrival?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. If not 30 minutes to an hour, sooner. But around the same time for them as well. Jackson's going to be, I think I've got a little keyframe on some of the times that they have. So they've got Vicksburg, Jackson area from 3 a.m. to 4 p.m. Hattiesburg, Laurel from 1 a.m. to noon. And then us from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I'd like to see that move down to about 7 a.m.
Right.
Just to be on the safe side. And, you can visit our website, www.limaonline.com. We've got weather radars. We've got different things that we can go in and look at. We've got listed. And let's see, I think Scotty Ray's going to put that up.
Let's see.
It's brand new, so it may not even come up like that.
Let's see here. I looked at it earlier, and I thought it was going to be in my past there. I think I got it here. Let's see here if this pulls up right. Yeah, here's the...
All right, now that's the county site, and that just goes straight to...
Okay, that's not the one you're talking about.
So
all right.
we just built our own website.
And it's Lauderdale County.
Just go back and it's limaonline.com.
All right, let's see if we got this now.
There we go.
Here we are.
All right, that's it right there. So you can scroll over to where it says weather maps and click on weather maps there. Down
right there. All right, what do we want to look at? Oh, y'all got a bunch of stuff here.
Oh, yeah, we sat down. Inga Bass is who we sat down and talked to, and I told her, I said, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm kind of wanting. And she came back and she said, what about this? And I said, that's perfect. So we've got about 35 different maps that's on there that shows everything from temps to rainfall to a forecast to whatever you're wanting to look at.
And that's rainfall there.
And it's on there.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, and I was not aware that y'all had that.
And we just really started pushing that out the other day. We were going through looking at some of the different features of it, wanting to make sure everything worked. She did a great job getting it, and everything is real time. So you click on it, it pulls up, and it pulls up the actual real time map of where we're at and what we're expecting. We're looking at, there's 4 more systems out there that we're paying attention to, like that one right there that you just got. So 2 of those we know is not going to affect us. 10, we're not real sure. It's just a depression out there. But here's this big one just now coming off the Horn of Africa.
80% chance of it becoming.
Right. And that's early to have 80% chance that it's going to develop.
And if you'll look at that, it's just barely there at the coast of Africa.
Yeah.
And so that could be another humdinger, as we say in the South.
Could be come straight to us. This one was Ida was planned to just cut straight across, go straight across Mexico, and leave us alone. And she got down in the Caribbean and said, well, I heard Mississippi and Alabama's got some good food. Let me go check them out at lunchtime. So she decided to take a little northwestern turn, and here we are. And we're having to deal with her and then keep an eye on what's coming out behind her.
A lot to watch over the next 24 hours. Now, let me go over this while you're sitting here because I've gotten a bunch of this reported. Let me go over the closings that we have so far. If you've got a closing, inbox me. We'd love to add you to it. East Central Community College, Leake Academy, Leake County Schools, Meridian, our MCC, EMCC, and Scuba, Holmes County Community College, Morton Koch Chicken Plant, they're going to be closed, Choctaw Tribal Schools, the Dixie National Quarter Horse Show that's in Jackson, that's been canceled, Meridian Public Schools is closed tomorrow, Enterprise Schools, Newton County Schools, Neshoba County Schools, Dream Come True Children Daycare, also BJ's Tire and Quitman Schools are closed, Russell Christian Academy, Union Public School, Lauderdale County, and we finally got the word on that. That usually is later, but they got ahead of the ball game today. Jones Junior College, Quitman City Hall is closed tomorrow. Douglas Orthodontics is closed, and I spell closed wrong. I just noticed that. Potter's Wheel is closed tomorrow. Dean Plumbing is going to be closed tomorrow. Nanawaya School District, Clarkdale Clinic is closed tomorrow, along with the Clark County Courthouse and Tyson's Food in Carthage, and also Kemper Academy. I just got word is going to be closed in downtown DeKalb. Now, again, if you've got a closing, we'd love to hear from you as we start making preparations for this for tomorrow. Are you expecting any hail out of this?
We do not. But hey, anything can happen, and it seems like this year we've had a little bit of everything come at us, so we're not going to rule that out, but we don't expect any hail or sleet through this storm, thank goodness. But looking at all these closures and everything, that's a lot of people that's going to stay home.
It is.
And we've got a lot of activity that could be taking place tomorrow with trees down and everything. I know everybody wants to get out and go look and sightsee and all that, but it's just not safe to do that. Trees are going to be falling across roads, and we're going to have our crews out all day trying to get that cleaned up, but we're not going to send any of them out while it's dangerous for them to be
right.
We may be ahead of them if 911's called and we need somebody with an ambulance to go through. We may send somebody ahead and go cut one lane open to get emergency services through there. But we're not going to spend a lot of time sending a lot of our crews out and about when it's dangerous for them to be there.
Makes sense.
So stay home, sightsee Tuesday. Wait till everything's clear before you get out and about. Yeah.
Are we forgetting anything that you wanted to pass along that people ought to know? Anything that is coming to mind that you want to stress that I didn't ask you or we didn't bring up?
Talk about generators.
Okay.
If you have a generator and you're out of power at your home, do not just plug it straight into your power box and feed power into your home that way unless you have a now the whole word just
it's a switch.
It's a switch, so it does not backfeed down the line. So the last thing we want to do is have the power company come out, confirm that this power line is dead, and then our crews start cutting the trees up, and the next thing we know, that power line has become active because someone has backfed power down it through their house.
Now, and how often does that happen? Is it a pretty good bit?
It hasn't lately. In the last quite a few years.
Everybody's getting educated.
Everybody's getting educated, and the law kind of came up and said it's going to be illegal for you to do that.
I didn't know that.
So there's a little bit of teeth in that bite now, because you're putting other people at danger by backfeeding power into a line that we're getting rained on, we're wet, we're tired, we're ready to go home. We've been told that this line is dead, and we go to grab it to move it, and it electrocutes us. It could kill you. So, be careful, be cautious when you're operating your generator. Don't do it inside.
Right.
Make sure you're outside where the carbon monoxide, gets out of your home, not in the home.
How many times have you seen where somebody drags it in their carport and then it goes in the house and kills the whole family?
It's right there. Unless you have great ventilation, it's best to leave that outside.
And it's just so sad to even look at those because they don't even know what's happening. It
don't have a clue.
So we also got word that Lamar School just closed. So add Lamar to that, and I'm sure there's going to be some more. I'll be updating the list here in just a little while. So watch the generators. Your offices will be. Will it be 24/7 that they can reach y'all once this comes about? When do somebody man the phones?
We will start manning those phones about 5 o'clock in the morning. So this is Lauderdale County Emergency Management. We are emergency management for Lauderdale County, and that includes the city of Meridian. So if you're inside the city of Meridian, if you're inside Lauderdale County, 911 for emergencies, or these two phone numbers here to get in touch with the EOC, and we can get out the different organizations that need to go. If it's Red Cross, if it's the power company, if it's a fire department, we're going to take care of what we need to be sent to your area there. Casey Culpepper works with the hub, East Mississippi Hub, and that is a group of volunteers. Wow. She really does some great work.
She does.
And those people are amazing. She can get some things done.
She does.
And she comes and hangs out with us.
She threatens everybody. You want my daddy to come see you?
Don't have a choice, yeah.
My daddy will take care of you.
So she says jump, and we ask how high. But she has been great to work with, and organizing a group of people to go out and help people clean up their yards and get that took care of, and that's awesome. And just bear with us. We're still cleaning up from
ice storm,
April and all that, and it's not just. We can't just go out there, pick the stuff up, and then get rid of it.
It's all with federal funding. And
it's all federal funding, and we've got to get approved to take it here, and we get approved to take it there.
Red tape is what you're telling me.
Red tape is killer. So Lauderdale County with Rush and Ryan heading that group up, and those guys getting out doing the work. They're working as hard as they can, as fast as they can, and they have done an outstanding job getting Lauderdale County cleaned up. But we've got to go by FEMA's guidelines if we're going to recoup any of this money. And that's just, it's hard to tell everybody we can't go get that pile. We've got to get FEMA to give us the okay to do this.
The money makes the world go around.
Money makes the world go around. We don't want to spend more money than what we should. We budget, every year and say, okay, this is what we're going to spend. And then you have something like this that comes through.
You got to make it fit somehow.
And so now you've got to do this, and now it's going to cost you another $100,000. Well, if we can save the taxpayers of Lauderdale County $100,000 by asking for some of that money back,
you're correct.
We're going to do everything we can to do that. And it just takes a little extra time. So we're still working to getting everything cleaned up, and hopefully we'll get that system enhanced where we can get it picked up a little bit faster. But we're still, by law, government cannot go on private land and unless it's for a life-saving
mission. So to speak.
Yeah. So if we get some more tarps in, I've ordered 200 tarps from MEMA. Of course, MEMA looks and says, okay, hold on. We'll see what we've got and where it's needed. And
it's not like Amazon, is it?
No, it's not be here in 2 days. If they see where we do have a damage and we need it, then they will get them to us. And we can bring it out and we can hand you a tarp.
But you can't go up and put it on.
But we can't go up and put it on.
Well, that's fair enough.
And we hate that because times have changed. We want to get our feet dirty and our hands dirty, and we want to help these people, and we want to be there for every little single thing. If my mama called and said, hey, I need you to put this tarp on, well, Mama, you'll have to wait till I get off work because I can't come over there right now. As much as I want to, we can't climb up on your roof.
You remember as a kid the way it used to be, you could call your supervisor and get anything you want back in the day.
Yeah.
Remember that well from a kid. We also just got word that the Lauderdale County Meridian Livestock is closed, the stockyard, and also the Clark County landfill is going to be closed tomorrow. Again, posted there, or inbox me if you've got another one there that we haven't mentioned. All right, Odie, is there any
numbers? He's wanting the numbers again.
Okay.
So let me give y'all some more numbers. And that's 601-482-9852 or 601-482-9857. Miss Rita, I've known her my whole life. I sure have. Or she's known me my whole life.
Well, we appreciate her watching.
So, yeah.
And I'll take the numbers and I'll make a post here in a moment with those to where if you've missed it, because sometimes it's hard to write that down where you're listening.
Yeah, we don't carry pens and stuff anymore, you know. We program it in our phone.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't tell you my wife's telephone number if I had to. If I lose that phone, I ain't never calling her again.
Yes.
You know how that is.
Are you a firefighter, recruiter, or something? Well, I guess I could be. Yes, we're always looking for people to join our fire departments, even Lima. We have a high angle rope rescue team that we don't want to utilize it, but we had somebody not too long ago that ended up falling into a well about 50 feet. And
scary.
It is scary. And we were able to get with both NAS and Air National Guard, and that person was safe, no problems, no issues, and that was great. But bringing all these entities together, but with the cell towers, the water towers, everything else we've got out there, we do have a high angle rope rescue team that we can deploy.
That's great.
We've got a hazmat team that we can deploy out for any kind of environmental hazards. We deal with those on a regular basis with wrecks on the interstate. We have a dive team, underwater search and rescue, that we focus on. And we do overland search and rescue, but we're starting to pull back a little bit as far as Lima being the lead on that. And we're going to get with each one of the fire departments and do a major training and try and get each fire department certified. That fire department knows that area better than anybody else. And Lima will come in and assist you with manpower and whatever else we need. So Lima's taking a little bit of a transition from what we used to do, and we're pulling back on some things to give back to the local fire departments, and we're building on some areas that we haven't utilized in the past.
Now, do you have a team? Because this has come up. I've been in a store and you bump into somebody that's north of the Mason-Dixon line. You can't understand what they're saying. Y'all have a Yankee team that comes out to tell you
it's hard saying. Yeah, it's hard to do that. Sometimes we have to slow down and say, now, can you repeat that one more time? And then working with FEMA, she doesn't understand me and I don't understand her. And so we do have somebody in MEMA that kind of
language
gets in between.
I get that. I've had several phone calls and I go, hang on. I ain't got a clue what you said.
I don't have my interpreter with me today.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, Odie, thank you for coming in. We appreciate everybody watching. It was mighty kind of you, and we'll be in touch with you again as this storm comes about to check in with you where damage is and where you're working.
Definitely.
Debbie Alexander said to tell you hello there. She said thanks for the information there.
Well, yes. Good to see her again. Well, hear about her. It's hard to see. Yeah. There we go. Used to Scotty Ray and Debbie, and now Scotty Ray and Candace.
Yeah.
That's something. We went to school together, me and Candace.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I'm learning something new every day.
She's a year younger. She's not as old as I am.
Got that year.
So, yeah.
I talked to her this morning. Well, we do appreciate it. I'll be back a little after 4. We're going to talk to Stormin' Norman again. He's going to give us some weather predictions coming up after 4 o'clock. So y'all come back for that. We're trying to cover everything as we anticipate the storm coming in. And again, hats off to you. I appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
All right. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Scotty Ray's Weather is brought to you by